Hey lifers, welcome back to the channel. This is a Jay in the Life. I'm Jay, and I'm so excited. Demi Lovato's new documentary is out, docu-series, whatever you want to call it, Dancing with the Devil. Yo, I am so excited. I'm so excited to dance with the devil, with Demi. I'm gonna be watching episode 1 here. So pumped. The first 2 episodes are out, so I'm doing episode 1 now, and episode 2 will be up momentarily. All right, so I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for so long. So let's get right into this. Remember, if you like me, like this channel, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all of those fun things. All right, let's get into this. Episode 1, Losing Control. Look at her, she's gorgeous.
Tell me you love me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Demi is walking to the stage.
Tell me you love me, Torio. I would have loved to be there. I'm not sorry. Feeling so good. She is a goddess. Baby, I'm sorry. I think this is our new single, yo.
It's just a little red wine, I'll be fine.
Oh, this song, yo.
Not like I wanna do this every night.
Her voice.
I've had so much to say over the past 2 years of like wanting to set the record straight about what it was that happened.
So you just want to know everything? Okay.
Yeah. So do we all. So do we.
Want the true story from me.
I can't believe y'all are doing this. This is lit, but okay.
It's tough because we shot an entire documentary that will never see the light of day. It was before she OD'd.
This tour has been fun.
Oh, wow.
Show.
The best way to just
That documentary, I was allowing the cameras to see the tip of the iceberg. Can we turn the cameras off?
Oh, that makes sense.
I've been working on trying to be free for 13 years.
The US tour was absolutely a dream come true, obviously, professionally, but it, emotionally was miserable.
Gonna like overflow at some point. And that's ultimately like what happened to me in a lot of areas of my life. And it was what led to my overdose, for sure.
there's a lot that
Yeah, I mean, that's like the most dangerous thing with addiction is hiding it. And that's what addicts become so good at, is hiding like the truth from people. And it becomes second nature. It becomes, it gets to a point where it's not even like you're actively like or consciously doing it, but it's just so ingrained in you to like hide that part from yourself from other people. And that's what's so dangerous, because people don't really know the full extent.
the public don't know.
It was weird. It felt like it wasn't happening. It felt like it wasn't real.
It was
Oh, I'd
certainly,
never seen her sister before. I didn't know there was a
touch and
sister.
go there for a little bit.
She should be dead, like 100%.
I crossed a line that I had never crossed in the world of addiction. It's interesting that it took me a quarantine to work on this
Was shooting out?
trauma stuff. I have never really taken the time to dig deep and do the work on.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of addiction is that it's never usual. It's usually never just like I just want to wake up and be a drug addict. There's usually so many deep-rooted mental like issues underneath that you don't even realize why you're using. Like, people don't go like, I'm really sad about this thing in my life, so I'm gonna do drugs. Like, you don't realize why you're doing it. It takes sobriety to realize, like, oh, that's why I was trying to suppress these things with drugs. Oh, such a good song. Wow.
A second chance.
Wild. That's such a good song.
Ooh, when I turned around and saw my dad in those pictures.
Oh yeah.
Something about, like, I saw him in rehearsal, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
We had an estranged relationship,
Yeah.
so we weren't close.
Daddy
and growing
issues.
Up my whole life, the exact day
That's
that
so
he
cute, that
died.
picture.
All we know is that by the time he was found, his body was too decomposed to have an open casket.
Oh,
He had been.
that's so sad, yo. That no one, like, he had no one in his life to find out that he was dead until he was, like, decomposing. That's wild.
There, I think, for about a week and a half before anybody found him. And during that was Father's Day. So every summer now that rolls around, I spend it kind of thinking, was today the day that my dad died? Is it tomorrow? And then also knowing that by the time Father's Day rolls around, like, he was just laying there rotting. And that was the fear that I always had for him, was that he would end up alone. And he did. He died alone.
Mental health is something that
That's
we all
so
need to
sad.
talk about, and we need to take this. This is no longer cute. This is no longer fun. And I'm just like my dad.
Wow. I had no idea she got that vulnerable, like, on a show. That is so, like, I love her so much for just being so open. I mean, even if she was hiding stuff during the height of her addiction, she still, like, is so open and vulnerable.
And sometimes I feel like that stayed with her for many years, when I didn't know that she probably needed to work with a professional to work through some of that. Just like I didn't know they were causing issues in myself.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You never know you're going through trauma when it's happening. Like, you're not, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't just be like, this is traumatic right now. This is going to fuck me up for the rest of my life when it's happening. Like, you have to, like, look back and be like, that was traumatic shit. And, like, have to deal, because a lot of people, I mean, you don't know when stuff's really affecting you that deep.
I also felt a lot of guilt over the years, because I've been such an advocate for mental health. Here was my father who had bipolar, schizophrenia, and then on top of that, the disease of addiction, you know, and I hadn't helped him the way that I would have helped other people, or the way that I had been preaching about. And that really ate up at me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
ultimately, family history. My mom has dealt with substances and an eating disorder, so I didn't know any different. Then I was put in beauty pageants where it's extremely competitive and it's all about your looks and your talent. My self-esteem was just completely damaged from those beauty pageants. I remember actually making a pact with myself, saying, if I don't win this pageant, I will never eat again. Then you put me in front of, I've realized that I've spent more time trying to please other people the past several years of my life than I have really trying to make it what I want.
It wasn't until the last few years that I really fully realized the impact that eating disorders have had on her. We had to be very careful what we ate around her, which sounds insane, but maybe some of the control that she had with her last team was put in place to help her so she wouldn't relapse in her eating disorder, but it totally backfired.
You get so miserable. God, I've been there. The years that I was anorexic, like, you don't, you're not even present. Like, when you're starving yourself, that's the only thing that's on your mind. So you're trying to busy yourself with things to not think about eating, but all you're doing is thinking about eating. So it's like all consuming. So I can't even imagine her dealing with being on tour and all this stuff on top of dealing with an eating disorder. It's so difficult. And that's what it is. It's about control. And then if you give in to that control and if you lose that control for a little bit, which in an anorexic's mind, eating is losing, and you beat yourself up so bad, and then you can lead to like drugs or starve yourself even more. It's like this never-ending cycle, and I can relate to her so well. And like her not letting people eat certain things around her and stuff. Like you get so like triggered and weird about food. Like I still to this day I am. Like I can relate to her. I love her so much.
Team has consisted of assistants, a wellness coach, a dietitian, nutritionist.
Her just eating rice cakes.
I've had all
Been
these
there.
people in and out of my life. I feel like decisions have been made for me more so than I've made decisions for myself.
I do feel like she had been in such a pressure cooker of control and trying to keep her well, and it had just eaten away at her.
There were
Yeah, I mean, this happened to me too. Sometimes you can get addicted to bettering yourself to a point like where it's bad. Like you can add on so many things. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this to better yourself, where it starts to hurt you when you're doing like too much.
I had to spend the night because she like ate a cookie. I felt like I was always walking on eggshells, no matter what I was eating, around who, what we had in our dressing room, what kind of food.
It was very intense. Everyone around her had to be drug tested. You know, she wasn't allowed to hang out with anybody that wasn't sober completely.
Put on like a little weight. So like I don't want to go on stage every night in clothes that are like showy.
Like, ugh, God, I'm like getting emotional watching this right now. Like I can just, holy shit, it's so like, it is so, I couldn't even imagine going through an eating disorder and then having people like dressing you up and being like giving you these outfits that like are made for models and stuff. And I couldn't even like know what she was going through.
In my eating disorder, I was already relapsing in it with over-exercising and extreme dieting. And I also had people around me that were really policing my food intake and the things that I was eating. So I was miserable and I like snapped.
As hammered into her head, you have to be sober. You have to be this icon, this role model that my sister never claimed to want to be in the first place.
I felt like I had to be this perfect role model.
I love what she does for young girls.
Yeah.
And
I mean, someone that has an eating disorder means that they're have so much good willpower to be able to starve yourself, and you're such a strong minded in person, and that means you put yourself in a pressure cooker and you get so upset and you beat yourself up so much. And especially on top of that, just being not a famous person and then being a famous person being looked upon to be perfect in a role model is so much pressure that must have been unbearable.
6 years is a long time to be told that if you slip up, you're gonna die. And at some point, enough just becomes enough.
And the wild thing is too, is that like, I had an eating disorder by myself. I can't even imagine how wild, like how deep I could have been into it if I had a team helping me to be restricting my food. If I had a team of people being like, no, that's good, don't eat, like, in like controlling, I can't even imagine how far deep I'd be in that. If there was an entire team of people supporting your disorder, it's wild.
This is a special day. 6 years sober.
It's like bittersweet anniversaries of sobriety, because it's like, I did it and now I better never mess up. Like, so many relapses happen around an anniversary.
And I remember being at the photo shoot and just thinking to myself, like, I don't even know why I'm sober anymore. Like, I am so miserable. I picked up a bottle of red wine that night, and it wasn't even 30 minutes before I called someone that I knew had drugs on them. I'm surprised I didn't OD that night. That night I did drugs that I'd never done before. I'd never done meth before. I tried meth. I mixed it with Molly, with Coke, weed, alcohol, Oxycontin, and like that alone should have killed me.
Yeah, that always happens too. When you relapse, you go in harder. You go in fucking harder.
So when she had texted in 2018 and was talking about deciding to drink again, it was like sound off the alarms, and then she was drinking and fine, and you know, until it wasn't fine. You can hide stuff really, really well.
Yeah.
It was only
she's an actress.
Like 2 weeks before I was introduced to heroin and crack cocaine. I started using recreationally, and obviously, like, you can't do that with heroin before you become addicted to it.
Yeah,
Are we
no,
talking
there's
about heroin? Are we doing that?
Yeah.
There's no recreational use of heroin.
Okay, then I'll just tell you the real. I'll just give you the real.
It wasn't until I went on a trip to Bali a few weeks later that I realized I had become physically dependent on it. And it was on that trip that I actually wrote Sober.
God, I haven't listened to Sober fully. I heard it's really good.
I got no excuses for all of these goodbyes. It wasn't my intention. I'm sorry to myself.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love her hair. One day before.
Sorry that I'm here again. I forgot the words.
That is funny, but
I went out to a friend's party, and none of my friends knew what I was using. So I kept it very hidden from everyone.
Demi is very good at hiding what she needs to hide.
Hey, be careful. Okay, I'm sure. I don't know why, but like I've just like felt like I needed to tell you that ever since I was at your house. Like, just be careful.
I'm always careful.
Take care of yourself.
When you deprive someone of something, they definitely find ways to get what they want.
We came back to my house, and around 5:30 in the morning, I said I was going to bed. But the reality was that I had called one of my dealers over.
Paramedic operator 65, what's the address of the emergency?
We just need to get somebody out here.
Yeah, do you know what happened to her? Okay, I'm going to be there shortly. Stay with the patient. I'm going to remain on the line with you all the way until the paramedics arrive, okay?
oh my god, it's so scary.
Okay, we just need someone to flag them down.
I wonder who found her. Wait, is that's it for the first episode? All right, wild. Okay, I'm so like engaged in this. I can't okay, I can't stop. I can't stop at episode 1. Yeah, that was such a good first episode. Wild. I love how intense it is. I love just learning about her and her being open. So, I don't want to stop. Episode 2, I gotta keep going. Gotta keep going.
She had really wanted to make this doctor's appointment. Her door was closed. So whenever her door was closed, I kind of just took it as a hint, like, hey, just knock. So I knocked.
Wow, I really like this, like, artist rendition of what happened.
I opened the door really slowly, and it was really dark and cold in her room.
Oh, God.
And I kind of got chills. Honestly, I thought that she was just drunk or hungover. So I kind of started to, like, nudge her a little bit, like, hey, like, let's get up now. Like, it's time to go. She wasn't really
God, she was the one that found her so scary.
She was, like, drooling. By that point, some more people had started to arrive at the house.
Guys, this is so scary.
And I'm just kind of like, do I call 911? Like, what do I do? While I was on the call, someone told me to tell the operator no sirens.
Hang in there, okay? We're on our way. I'll let you know when they're outside. You should be hearing the sirens real soon.
No sirens, please, right?
No. This is a medical emergency. I don't have control over that. Well, this is definitely a medical emergency for her.
I was quite impressed with Jordan's.
Yeah, I mean, that is so ridiculous. That one guy, whoever the fuck, goes, like, she's overdosing, dying, and someone goes, no sirens, because they're worried about her reputation. Like, I understand that she, like, they she probably wouldn't want people to know and be embarrassed. But at the same time, it's like, who cares about this shit right now? Like, the operator's like, I don't have control over that. This is this is an emergency. Like, no, like shut up. Like, we're just sending ambulances. Like, what?
Handling it. I couldn't care what anyone thought.
Yeah.
Get an ambulance there.
Yeah.
The ambulance where she turned blue, like her whole body completely turned blue.
She wasn't breathing.
And yeah, I was just like, oh, she's dead for sure. Yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I've been good, don't I deserve
Wow.
it? I think I earned it, feels like it's worth it in my mind.
This song, yo.
It was
Emotions.
my mom, me,
Emotions.
and Madison.
I got a call from her assistant.
I heard my mom pick up the phone. It was something in her voice that told me something really, really bad just happened and I should probably get my clothes on because we need to leave.
She said, Demi overdosed.
Chills.
And I said, is she okay? And she said, she's breathing. We're at the hospital, but she's not talking.
She had texted me.
Okay. That is some scary ass words. Is she okay? She's breathing. Like, but she's not talking. Wow. Whoa. That's wild though, but yeah, because think of it, she's a celebrity. So all her closest friends and family are finding out like through like rumors. It's wild.
The next 24 hours are going to be tough. We'll know if she's going to make it within the next 24 hours. And I said, what do you mean if she's going to make it? Says we don't know. This next 24 hours is important.
Her oxygen levels, when she came to the hospital, they were dangerously low, and they were trending down. They were 70% someone of her health and age. We expect it to be closer to 100%.
She had a tube in her neck that was taking her blood into a machine, cleaning it, and then putting it back into her neck.
I had 3 strokes. I had a heart attack. I suffered brain damage from the strokes. I can't drive anymore, and I have blind spots in my vision. So sometimes when I go to like pour a glass of water, I'll like totally miss the cup because I can't see it anymore. Like, I also had pneumonia.
I can recognize her coping mechanism there where she's talking about something extremely tragic about having blind spots from having a stroke, and as she's saying it, she's smiling and kind of laughing about it. And it's not because she thinks it's funny, it's because that's how she's dealing with her emotions. It's like a response. It's like a coping, a defense mechanism almost. I do the same thing.
My mom was like, yeah, it's out there. Everyone knows. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are concerned, and a lot of people love you. And that's all you need to worry about right now.
Yeah, because on top of fighting for your life, then you have to worry about the world, like knowing about it. Ugh.
Typically, when we hear about drug-related ingestions, they come to us too late.
I'm really lucky to be alive. My doctors said that I had 5 to 10 more minutes, and had my assistant not come in, I wouldn't be here today.
I also feel so bad for that assistant to have to be the one to find her. That is some traumatizing. Like, that's gonna stick with her, like, for the rest of her life. It's wild.
She looked at me, I grabbed her hand, and I said, I'm here and I love you, just to let her know I had gotten to the hospital. And she looked me dead in the eye and she said, who is that? Which is something you never want to hear your sister say.
I was legally blind when I woke up, and my little sister was at my bedside, and I was so blind that I couldn't see who she was, even though she was standing next to me. And I asked her, I was like, who are you? And she just started sobbing because she thought from then on I was not going to be able to see.
The first time you got sober, I think it was in response to the fact that your parents told you you couldn't see your sister Madison. And then to bring it full circle, you couldn't see your sister in a literal sense.
I know that's not what they literally meant.
Wow.
I know they meant it metaphorically, but it's really ironic and in a weird way poetic that it ended up happening like that and me not actually seeing her.
To be honest, when I found out that...
Chills. That's insanity. Holy shit.
Demi wanting to be able to see me and keep a relationship with me was one of the reasons she went to treatment. I didn't believe it. That a sister relationship like that could stand in the way of Demi and her addictions, even if for a moment.
I think that God has a twisted sense of humor sometimes.
I knew that what I had been looking for, I hadn't found yet. That spiritual growth is what I was looking for.
You cannot.
Yeah, because you're like, you're searching for something when you're a drug addict. Like you're chasing after like a high or chasing after something that's not really obtainable with drugs, and you just try your hardest to do it with drugs, and it's never enough. It's never enough. That's why it gets more and more and more, because it's not, you're never satisfied. You just want, yeah. After you do it, you just want more.
She goes, stay over. You and everyone just stay over. And I'm like, girl, I gotta go home. I have dogs. My mother's there. I gotta go home. No, please stay over. I'm like, let's go hiking in the morning. You know, we're all fine. It's early enough. Let's go hiking in the morning. I'll call you in the morning. And we pulled over. And I look at my friend Janelle and I said, do you feel weird? And she's like, I feel weird. Should we have stayed? And I'm like, no. She's a grown-up girl. In my head, I'm like, what is she gonna do? She's gonna go to bed. Like, no, she's fine.
Yeah, I mean, people, it's like survivors, not that she died, but like a form of survivor's guilt. Yeah, you're gonna blame yourself. Like, what could I have done differently?
What people don't realize about that night for me is I didn't just overdose. I also was taken advantage of.
What? Oh no.
I had not heard of him before.
He also ended up getting her really high and leaving her for dead.
I've had my fair share of sexual trauma throughout childhood, teenage years, and when they found me, I was naked. I was blue. I was literally left for dead after he took advantage of me. And when I woke up in the hospital, they asked if I had had consensual sex. And there was one flash that I had of him on top of me. I saw that flash and I said yes. It actually wasn't until maybe a month after my overdose that I realized, hey, you weren't in any state of mind to make a consensual decision.
I mean, even if she was, yeah, because he probably was like, she's not waking up, and just like was like I don't want to get in trouble. Like, just sounds like a drug dealer. It's out for themselves. That's wild. Yeah, because that's why like rape and shit like this, when it deals with alcohol and drugs, is such a terrible and annoying gray area, because like you can't just be like, this guy raped me, because you can, because he did, that's what happened, but in the moment she could have said yes, but she was so messed up, and that's why I like how she's saying he took advantage, and not using the word rape, because even though it is rape, like the fucker got her high and raped her, yeah, she could have said yes in the moment, but like she was overdosing. She was so fucked up, like she didn't know what was going on. And a lot of, and like, it happens to the victim, even her, like, she didn't even realize. She's like, oh yeah, I must have had consensual sex. And then like looking back and being like, no, I barely even remember that night. Like, that's just, it's tragic. It's fucking tragic.
The last 2 years have been about me doing the work to identify and confront those traumas so I can be my best self and truly be happy.
But it's not very.
And that's the
common that you'd
hardest
see
part too of recovery, is dealing with what put you into the addiction. Getting clean is hard and that sucks but once you get over the week of shitty, I'm sure it's longer than a week of an overdose, but when the week or month or whatever that you go through the physical withdrawal, then it's just years and years and sometimes the rest of your life that you're dealing with the mental stuff of not only what happened to you during the use, but what happened to you to make you be a drug user.
That it wasn't my time, you know, that there was more life to be lived.
When she turned 28 this past year, it is pretty morbid, but we kind of were like, you made it to 28. Yes, you survived the 27 club. In a way, it's like probably a subconscious self-fulfilled prophecy. But what's different is she lived through it, is that she survived it. She was where her father was, but she got through it.
Is that... I can't. Wow.
Did you know who Demi Lovato was before that night?
I did not.
He didn't?
I did not Google her for about a week after I started interacting with her. And
I didn't Google?
That's fine.
But I didn't do that. I didn't do it deliberately because I don't like it to influence my medical decision making.
You know she's got some bops.
I now know that. That's funny. Thank you for giving us a laugh after that. Wow. Holy shit, there's so much to unpack there. Just talking about the documentary itself, like the production of it, it's really done really well. I like how they're shooting it. Adding in that, like, the drawing animation is really cool. But just the subject matter, I mean, I've talked about it as we're watching, it's just so wild and tragic, and I am just so glad that she made it and that she's still here and that we get to enjoy her and her music, and I'm glad that she's putting this out there because there's so many people that's gone through so many similar things, and it seems it's very powerful, and I think this is going to impact a lot of people, and I think people are going to be really moved by this. And guys, I need to unpack that, and shit, that brought up a lot of shit with me too, and yeah, this was so good. So guys, this is probably not even going to be that good of a reaction. I'm like mentally and emotionally like drained from that. It was so good. But yeah, so anyway, this has been a Jay in the Life. I am gonna, when the next parts come out, I'm gonna react to that, and can't wait to react to her new music. Her and Ariana's coming out with a new song. I want to do her Confident album, all the things. Until next time, bye.